There are some amazing creators in this space, and also there's some trash ones. So today, let's put them in order in a tier list. This one's gonna be super fun. My name's Adam. You're watching Wickens Wicked Reptiles. Let's roast some YouTubers. First things first, I want to say I am so happy that I am even in a position where I can know some of these people or whatever. I'm just so excited to talk about how great our community is, and then also I'm excited to rip on one or two of the bad ones as well. So we'll get into that. I think you might know who I'm talking about. I'm ranking the average tier list. There's a million videos like this: S, A, B, C, D tier, and then we're gonna do an up and coming tier where they're really small, but I have faith they're going to get bigger. And then the T tier, which stands for trash. Keep in mind, all these channels are good channels. You should give them a chance, besides the T tier, of course. And although I am putting some personal bias in here, generally I'm rating them on analytics, where they're going, their trajectory, and their frequency, things like that, that make up why the numbers are what the numbers are. And we're talking about YouTubers, TikTokers, and okay, shut up, Adam. Let's just start pulling them out of a hat. It's actually a purple bowl. I mixed them all up, I cut them up with their stats, and I'm just gonna start pulling them out in random order. And keep in mind, I put a calling on Instagram. Follow me here if you don't already. On my story, who you wanna see. So if your name wasn't mentioned, I didn't talk about you. It's no disrespect. Some of my favorites were actually left off the list. First up, VIP Morphs, a Canadian content creator, and we're gonna lump him and his wife together. So Gerald and Crystal Crabtree, absolutely hilarious. If you watch Fat Man Nation, you already know who these class clowns are, and they are amazing people. A modest following, about 1,500 on Instagram and 100 followers on YouTube, subscribers rather. A lot of breeding of ball pythons, funny skits, especially from Gerald, and of course, Crystal has a Kuni pig, I think they're called, the one with the tassels, super freaking cute. VIP Morphs is an up and coming tier. Next up, a C tier, Tiki's Geckos. Tiki's Geckos is a channel I started watching before I even had a channel. 103,000 subscribers on YouTube and 116 on Instagram. A healthy serving of people loving them absolutely everywhere. The growth of this channel has been nothing short of amazing. Both of these gentlemen do an amazing job expressing the genetics, the planning of breeding, and everything that has to do with geckos, and of course other species as well. Serpa Design, there is nowhere for him to go besides the S tier. Simple as that. Tanner is an OG creator. He kind of created the niche that he's in, mostly faceless build videos with a calming aesthetic and almost ASMR type feel to it. He walked so many other creators just like him could run. And what an amazing niche he's helped create. Coming up on 2 million subscribers on Serpa Design channel, I am definitely part of the Serpa squad. And I think I've watched his pawn build video from like 6 years ago 45 to 50 times. Next up, Magic Mind, which is not a content creator, but I absolutely love this stuff. If you're one of those people that has problems concentrating even after your morning coffee, maybe you need to add Magic Mind to the mix. Whether you're a content creator, artist, mom, dad, working professional, it doesn't matter. If you want the best out of your workday, Magic Mind is for you. What I love about Magic Mind is it's a subscription service with free shipping. The delivery is easy. It just shows up to my house every month. And if you decide you don't want it for a month, cancellation is really easy. Plus, there's no monetary risk because you get 100% of your money back if you decide that you don't like it. And no, it doesn't have any nasty, disgusting chemicals in it. We're talking about natural ingredients like ashwagandha. I know you heard it, but this stuff known as Indian ginseng has been used for thousands of years in traditional medicine. Not only that, but it's got turmeric, lion's mane, natural stuff that helps you concentrate. Or if you're not a morning person, use it before you go to the gym. Last night it was 9 o'clock at night, went to the gym, used this stuff, felt great, had no problem sleeping after. Whether you want a 15 bottle case so you can take it every other day, or a 30 bottle case, it doesn't matter, it comes to your door every month. I'm telling you, these edits are draining to do. It takes hours and hours and hours. Getting distracted, looking at my phone, checking what the dogs are doing. With this stuff, I'm dialed in. So if you want to discover the productivity hack that I use, go to magicmind.com/WWR. Get up to 48% off your first order with my code WWR20. Magic Mind, thanks for sponsoring this video and making it much easier to edit. let's get back to the great creators. Is the guy behind Snakes and the Fat Man and a whole bunch of other podcasts. He's almost running a small network. Chris has 2,500 YouTube followers and then almost 3,000 on Instagram. If New York was a person, it would be Chris Eaton. I've been on the show many times, and actually my wife-to-be, Trish, is going to be on the show this week. Chris has unlimited potential, but right now is a D-tier content creator. The Naughty Noodles is a small but up-and-coming Instagram account that also has a YouTube following, and although not posting regularly, if she did, the sky is the limit. Kaylee specializes mostly in large colubrids, especially that adorable false water cobra that she's showing in most of her videos. I'd keep an eye out for this one. The short-form content might blow up any day now. Kaylee is clearly an up-and-coming tier performer. A staple in the short-form content creator space, Mason Barnes. Mason actually introduced me to the fact you can even have a platform on Snapchat. Tell me I'm old without telling me I'm old. And with a 3.1 million following on TikTok, this guy is for real. I'm so old I didn't even know how to check his audience size on Snapchat. It's not even a joke. This young man has a huge and unique collection. He has a great presentation, voice, and style. And the collection, as I said before, amazing and unique and crazy, and I just wish I could have all of the animals that Mason has. Kayla Roach puts the perfect balance of creative, funny, and educational all in one. Her YouTube right now is sitting at about 32,000 subscribers, with her Instagram approaching 80,000. Her short form content is her bread and butter, but her long form content is amazingly edited, and she has a very unique collection that you don't really see on other channels. Although I suspect if I do a part 2 to this, she will rise. Right now, I'd put Kayla as a D tier content creator. Dan the Turtle Man has had a glow up since I met him. In the last few years, his short form content has skyrocketed his presence to the moon, and with 361,000 subscribers on YouTube, he is no slouch. Another 577 on TikTok and 187 followers on Instagram. This man is funny, creative, and if you want to learn about turtles, there's very few on the planet that can do it in such an engaging and accurate way. Coming up next, this guy, Wickens Wicked Reptiles. Stupid name, stupider content. The guy is bald, stocky, and kind of looks like a thumb. He has an overly pronounced commentator voice that people don't really even like that much. I've looked at the comments. But he does have one thing going for him, and that is a 345,000 YouTube subscriber strong base, with another 46,000 on Instagram and 30,000 on TikTok. He seems a little bit too old to be on the TikTok platform, but good for him for trying. By the numbers alone, I would put WWR as a C tier creator. Next creator on the list, Catalia. Catalia again has had a massive, giant, huge, amazing glow up in terms of her follower counts following the realization that short form content is the way to go to create big audiences. She is just a step away from 1 million followers on YouTube, which is a huge milestone, and even more impressive are her TikTok following of 3 million and a healthy 410 on Instagram. Catalia specializes in short form content about zoo animals and reptiles. She shows her travels as well, and I'm telling you, the zoo animals are freaking adorable. If you're looking for reptiles with splashes of everything else, you gotta follow Catalia. A new one for me, Biotope Gallery. I was unfamiliar until I put a calling for what you wanted to see and who you wanted me to talk about, and this is clearly a B tier creator. Biotope Gallery has 112,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is no joke. Getting a silver play button is a big deal. This is a South Korean channel that has no voice but has English subtitles. The content, however, is captivating. Big, giant, large-scale terrarium builds, plant walls, that's my favorite. I saw a plant wall video, absolutely amazing. Something that I will watch again and again because I would love to create this in my own home. Clearly a B tier creator. Reptiliatus, with a combined following of almost 1 million, is the largest content creator here in Canada in the reptile niche, with 244,000 subscribers on YouTube, and then another 476 on Instagram and 243 on TikTok. Absolutely massive, specializing in amazing pet reptiles like Shinisaurus and the coolest, calmest, most amazingly trained tokay geckos I've ever seen. If Dion posted consistently on YouTube, I promise you, he'd be much further ahead than I am right now. Dion, just post, please, man, post. Once a week, just do it. I promise you, you'll blow up. The vlog style might look like it's dying out, but no one quite does it the way that Brian Cusco does. Brian Cusco does have a modest following with the 2 channels that he runs, 42.1 on his main channel, and then Triple B TV, which is now the Red Line Report. He's a podcaster and a family vlogger that loves to show what a family should be, especially focused around reptiles. Plus, he breeds really cool species and has an amazing reptile room. Brian Cusco on paper is a D tier creator, but Brian, trust me, you're an S tier in my heart, buddy. This space is filled with amazing female content creators, and Mzotic is one of the OGs. She's been doing it forever. She does it the right way and is an amazing influence, and has earned every one of her 726,000 YouTube followers, 123 on Instagram, and we're approaching 90,000 on TikTok. She's also an exec at Zen Habitats and does an amazing job. The customer service is unbelievable. Also, you might recognize her from feature films like Human Centipede 2. It's very kind of contrast. Pretty cool though. Another OG female content creator, Reptilian Garden. This is a C tier creator, but has been around for so long and has so much more to offer the community. A very interesting and very cool reptile room that is fitted out mostly with Zen habitats and enclosures that she has created an incredible aesthetic for, with her chameleons and rainbow boa boa and so many cool critters. Most of her content is focused around her own collection, the old school way of making reptile videos, and I love every one of them. Tyler Nolan is clearly A tier. Now, some people might call him a venom bro, but at the end of the day, this man knows how to handle venomous snakes. A great presentation style, soft-spoken but very knowledgeable, and truly a very nice human being. 1.5 million TikTok followers, another 210 on Instagram, and an incredible almost 800,000 YouTube subscribers. This man's audience is nothing to sneeze at, and he deserves every single one of them. Oh, he was also famous on TV before the YouTube channel on Ink Master Season 6. Perhaps the largest cult following on this list, Ants Canada, obviously an S tier. There's nowhere for him to go except for up. The talent of this man is absolutely incredible and such an inspiration to even be around him. People fly all over the world to meet him when he goes to expos and events. This Canadian content creator, now living in an amazing facility in the Philippines, has created some of the most riveting and captivating content, connecting 2 giant enclosures together with an amazing ecosystem. It is no wonder he's got 5.95 million subscribers on YouTube. Even if you don't love ants, you'll love his storytelling ability. Keeping up with the S tier here, let's talk about snake discovery. Emily and Ed are the Mr. Rogers of all snake creators, in my opinion. The nicest human beings, so wholesome, and delivering an amazing message while having a giant following. 3.15 million YouTube subscribers, and then another 125 on Instagram. In their zoo, they've got venomous stuff, but mostly focusing on hognose snakes and some of the staples. Also running a rescue. So if you're in the Minnesota area and you're looking for a new pet, maybe check out their section dedicated just to animals that need a loving home who didn't have one before. Also, if you watch their channel next month, you'll see a really cool bald guy who looks like a thumb featured in one of the videos. Jason's Exotic Reptiles is another C tier creator who's been around for a long time. This man has just changed his style and the way he presents videos, and I am loving to see that he's keeping up with the times. A giant collection, really great breeding, focusing mostly on boas, but other species like Burmese pythons too. Thanks for the info, Jason. I got a Burmese python because of you. 44,000 on YouTube, and then another 56,000 followers on Instagram. A creator that just skyrocketed to the moon from seemingly nowhere, Dr. Plants, a clear S tier creator. You might not know what his face looks like, but you probably know what his voice sounds like, and it is nothing short of cinematic. The editing, the cuts, the storytelling, everything about the channel is just chef's kiss, top tier. 2.5 million subscribers on his YouTube channel that only started a couple of years ago, and then he has millions more on his other channels that show the same videos in different languages. This kid is like 19 or 20 years old, and he's just a prodigy of YouTube. One of the smartest but kindest creators that I've ever met. New England Reptile Distributors has to be on the list. A clear B tier contender with, I'm going to guess, 1 million subscribers by the time the year is out. Plus healthy followings on Instagram and TikTok, over 100K on each platform, focusing on not only really cool hots, but also your average everybody's gonna have type species as well. Rounding out with more advanced species that aren't gonna kill you with just one bite. And with a new style with the regime change, we miss you, Donnie, but Andy Gabbs is doing a great job with the channel now. The face of nerd, Kevin McCurley is the OG of OGs. Without him, we probably wouldn't have a hobby like we see it today. Plus, he knows basically everything about every reptile who's ever existed. Maybe the smartest dude in the entire hobby. Dave Kaufman and his 78 YouTube channel adventures, or whatever his main one is called, has a giant following. One of the creators that most of us looked up to on the way up. He's been around YouTube and he's been around the world more times than you can count. If you had this man's frequent flyer miles all added up, you could eat at 5-star restaurants every meal until the day you die. 170 YouTube subscribers on his main channel, another 52 on his adventures channel. He's got a channel where he eats the world of almost 6,000 subscribers, and if you like fishing, he's got an almost 5,000 subscriber channel there too. He might look like a washed up 80s rock star, but Dave is the man. All right, let's talk about it. And not the fact that all the lights went out just in time, which was an accident by the way, the trash tier contender on the list. Mantis 3M. I've never heard of you before, and I hope that after today, everyone does and goes and reports you. You might have almost 10,000 YouTube subscribers and millions of views on your videos, which I can't muster myself, but all of them are because you put animals in a box, make them fight each other to the death, and it is animal torture. You are flaming human garbage, and I hope that you do not have any success on the channel whatsoever, and inevitably when your channel gets taken down because everybody watching this is going to go flag you, I hope you don't make another one. Stop abusing animals for views. You're trash, and that's where you belong on this list. Brightening things back up, Dingo Dinkelman is one of the most jovial creators that I've ever met. A funny, quick-witted guy from South Africa with an amazing collection and one of the craziest stories ever. He had his entire channel wiped out by this monster right here, but now has his channel reloaded at 100,000 YouTube subscribers. That's crazy, by the way, to have your channel destroyed and then a couple years later have 100. That's absolutely amazing. An Instagram following at over 500,000, 644,000 followers. He is so likable, so genuine, and I'm so glad to see his rise from the ashes, even though he didn't deserve to burn in the first place. TM Reptile is an up-and-coming YouTuber. This guy right here does amazing work with not only his reaction videos, which are really well done, but his simplistic style of talking about his geckos, mostly geckos, how to start them up, how to feed them, care guides, things like that. A mostly handheld, old school type vibe to him, but he really understands the creatures that he takes care of. And sure, he's only got 4,500 YouTube subscribers, but maybe after today's video, he'll have a couple more. Going from newer creators to one of the OGs, Mike Taitula, otherwise known as Graphic Phoenix, Alpha Reptile, or whatever name he's used in the past before. This dude is one of the ones that helped me create a channel in the first place just from inspiration. Finally, as deserved, at 101,000 YouTube subscribers and healthy followings on other social media apps as well, mostly focusing nowadays on reptile room tours. Why wouldn't he? He's got an amazing collection that most people don't have or could only dream of. Standing in that room was a dream of mine that I finally got to live last month, and let me tell you, it's just as impressive in person as it is on the internet. Might be the smallest creator on the list, but Gizmo's Reptiles does deserve a shout out. Sure, he's only got 75 subscribers on YouTube and then 11 on Instagram, but he started the channels 18 weeks ago or something like that. I'll tell you what though, the presentation style is very good. The editing is quick, it's witty, it's fun. The information is good, and he does really cool builds on the channel too. He's likable and he has common reptiles, and this dude is an up-and-comer for sure. Keep your eye out for Gizmo's Reptiles. Remember the Animal Bites network days with all those cool channels? Peter Birch was my favorite. I loved Peter Birch, I loved him then, I love him now, and sure, he might be a D-tier creator because he doesn't have the most followers, 31,000 on YouTube, but don't let that fool you. This guy knows all about snakes, mostly focusing on Australian species. He also travels the world, and although I was a big fan 8 years ago when I first found him, I'm still a big fan today. If you want positivity and you love chameleons, you've got to talk Neptune the chameleon. An impressive following considering it's just such a small niche of chameleons. 62.4 thousand YouTube subscribers, another 20,000 on Instagram, and 62 on the talk. She focuses mostly now on short form content, but the long form content, if you're a chameleon person, there really is very few that do it just like Neptune the chameleon. Also, shout out to Bill Strand, the Chameleon Academy. Amazing channel, but no one asked for you to be on the list. S tier in my heart, Bill. Brad's Bioactive Builds is a newcomer to me and an up-and-comer on the list. but he's been around for over 3 years now. The builds keep getting bigger and better, focusing on large-scale builds that really no other channels have been doing. Sure, he's only got 16,500 followers on YouTube and then 5,000 on Instagram. He deserves so many more, and I think the big following is coming, Brad. Not all great channels are big channels, and All Canadian Reptile Girl personifies knowing what you're talking about and presenting it the most positive way while remaining funny and interesting. She's been around for a few years now, and it's been a joy to watch what was literally a small child grow into what is now a young lady. And let me tell you, if you're looking to have someone in front of your kids to tell you what's going on with reptiles, Annalise is one of the best. A channel that your kids, your grandkids, you yourself, and your parents could like. 13.7 thousand YouTube followers, and then another 2.8 on Instagram. Her unique collection and presentation style, along with her snappy editing, I do think right now, on the numbers, she's a D-tier creator, but I feel like there's going to be a rise in subscribers coming soon, Annalise. If you like the old school style videos from 2015 and beyond, you're gonna love Ravishing Reptiles, another up and coming creator. And of course, he's got one of the coolest collections that there is. If you love chondros, you gotta watch Ravishing Reptiles. Garden State Tortoise is another creator who deserved the massive bump due to short form content. Over 500,000 following on YouTube and TikTok, and getting pretty close on Instagram too. Both Chris and Casey are qualified. They know what they're talking about. One of them worked at a zoo, the other one's a herpetologist. They've got the coolest turtles, and if you want to know everything about shelled creatures, there's very few humans on the planet who can do it like Chris and Casey. A B-tier creator, but I promise you if I make this list next year, they're going to be moving up. Dakota Blue, formerly DBCB Exotics, him and I started at almost the exact same time. It's always interesting to see a creator's progression and how they change the dynamic and the style of how they present. And with 32.3 thousand YouTube subscribers, another 65,000 on Instagram, and 58 on the TikTok, he's got a unique collection, interesting ways of keeping different reptiles, and clearly a D-tier creator, but with the perseverance of, as of this month, 5 years of content creating, he's only going up from here. And lastly, the one that I wanted to save to the end, Brian Barczyk. I have no notes for this guy. He's not S tier. He's whatever the tier is above that, S plus. I don't know if it can be made, but that's where he belongs. He's a cut above everybody else. The nicest human being I've ever met, wanted to help absolutely everybody, and he knew so much about reptiles. You could tell this man was doing it for the reptiles. Yeah, he had tons and tons and tons of subscribers on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, and all that money that he made, he put it right back into the reptiles. One of the most selfless human beings I've ever met, and the reason that most of us are here. He started this niche on social media. He is the one that all of us can thank for being here in the first place. If you make money making content in the YouTube reptile space, you gotta thank Brian Barczyk. His face is literally tattooed on my leg. Like, Brian, you are heavily missed and we all love you. There you go. Should we do a part 2? Who did we forget? Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on these content creators and the ones that weren't on the list. As always, a special thanks to the Patreon supporters. You guys are amazing. If it wasn't for you guys, I mean, I definitely couldn't do this. Videos early, discounts on merch, one-on-ones, all that and more for as little as $1 a month. That's it. I do videos twice a week, so I'll see you in the next one.